The anointed ones. If this message has reached you at this precise moment, understand that there are no coincidences in the vast tapestry of existence. The universe operates through divine orchestration, and you have been spiritually guided here today because your soul carries something extraordinary. A sacred blueprint that distinguishes you from the multitudes walking this earth in spiritual slumber. Deep within the chambers of your consciousness, you have always sensed this profound distinction, this ineffable knowing that your existence serves a purpose far greater than the mundane pursuits that occupy most of humanity. There has been a persistent whisper in your spirit, an unrelenting call that refuses to be silenced, beckoning you toward something magnificent and transformative. Today, we unveil the profound truth of your spiritual identity, a revelation that will illuminate the path you have been walking, often in confusion and solitude. You are among the spiritually elected, those rare souls who carry divine essence and sacred purpose woven into the very fabric of their being. You are not merely another face in the crowd. You are a chosen vessel, a beacon of light in a world desperately seeking illumination. This path of the spiritually awakened is not a journey for the faint-hearted or the spiritually unprepared. To be selected by the divine source means traversing roads that remain utterly incomprehensible to the masses, facing tribulations that test the very core of your existence, and maintaining your inner radiance even when external forces conspire to extinguish the flame that burns within you. The chosen ones throughout history have walked similar paths. They have been the prophets who spoke truth to power, the healers who brought restoration to the broken, the teachers who illuminated minds trapped in darkness, and the leaders who guided humanity toward higher consciousness. They were often misunderstood, frequently rejected, and sometimes persecuted, yet they persevered because they understood their divine mandate. What I am about to reveal will fundamentally transform your self-perception forever, reshaping not only how you view yourself, but how you understand your role in the grand design of existence. There exist 7 unmistakable indicators that confirm your sacred status, irrefutable signs that you possess divine favor and have been consecrated for an extraordinary mission that extends far beyond personal achievement or worldly success. These manifestations are neither random occurrences nor mere coincidences spawned by chance. They are the spiritual signatures of one who carries a celestial mandate, the divine fingerprints that mark those who have been selected for purposes that transcend ordinary human experience. Each sign serves as both confirmation of your identity and preparation for the greater calling that awaits your full acceptance and embrace. Before we embark upon this profound exploration of these sacred markers, I invite you to participate in a powerful spiritual declaration that will align your consciousness with the truth we are about to uncover. If you recognize yourself as one of the spiritually chosen, if these words are already resonating within the depths of your soul like a bell of recognition, please take a moment to comment 777 below this message. This numerical sequence carries profound vibrational significance that extends far beyond mere mathematics. In the realm of sacred numerology, 777 represents divine perfection achieved through spiritual trials, complete spiritual illumination that penetrates all darkness, and perfect alignment with universal will and cosmic purpose. By sharing this symbol in the comments, you are not merely typing numbers. You are making a sacred declaration, acknowledging your divine calling and announcing your readiness to receive this life-changing revelation. The act of commenting these numbers serves multiple purposes. It creates a vibrational resonance with others who share your spiritual nature, forming an invisible bond of understanding and mutual recognition. It also serves as a form of spiritual accountability, a public declaration that you are prepared to step into greater awareness of who you truly are and why you have been placed on this earth at this critical juncture in human history. Understand this fundamental truth that forms the foundation of everything we will explore. While many receive the initial call to spiritual awakening, only a select few are truly chosen to carry divine missions that will impact the world in significant ways. Among Earth's billions of souls, merely a fraction are genuinely set apart for transcendent purposes that require special preparation, unique gifts, and extraordinary resilience. The spiritually elected are rare by divine design. They serve as celestial warriors in the battle between light and darkness, divine messengers carrying truth to those ready to receive it, and sacred vessels through which higher consciousness can flow into the earthly realm. These individuals are strategically placed throughout the world, often without initially understanding their significance, to serve as anchor points for divine energy and catalysts for spiritual transformation. Your presence here, reading these words at this moment, confirms your membership in this extraordinary fellowship. You are not here by accident, and your interest in these spiritual matters is not casual curiosity. Something within you recognizes truth when you encounter it, and your spirit is responding to the call that has been embedded within your soul since before your physical birth. The 7 sacred indicators we are about to explore have been recognized by mystics, spiritual teachers, and awakened souls throughout the ages. They transcend religious boundaries, cultural limitations, and historical periods, because they represent universal spiritual principles that govern how the divine selects and prepares chosen vessels for sacred service. The first sacred sign. Every authentically chosen soul undergoes a profound spiritual transformation that transcends mere intellectual understanding, emotional inspiration, or momentary spiritual experience. This metamorphosis represents nothing less than a complete reconstruction of consciousness, a fundamental rewiring of how you perceive reality, process information, and understand your place in the cosmic order. This awakening serves as a mandatory initiation into your true spiritual identity. Much like a caterpillar must undergo complete dissolution before emerging as a butterfly. The process is not optional for the chosen. It is an inevitable part of their spiritual development, orchestrated by divine intelligence to prepare them for the responsibilities and challenges that lie ahead. Initially, this transformation may seem as though your entire world is dissolving around you. The foundations upon which you built your understanding of life begin to crumble, leaving you feeling disoriented and uncertain. Previously coherent concepts become meaningless, Relationships that once provided comfort feel distant and superficial, and beliefs that you held with certainty begin to crumble under the weight of newly awakened spiritual perception. This dissolution occurs because the divine is systematically dismantling the illusions that have kept you trapped in limited thinking and conventional understanding. Like a master architect renovating a building, the spiritual forces at work in your life are removing everything that is inauthentic, misaligned with your true purpose, and incompatible with the higher consciousness you are meant to embody. During this phase, many chosen individuals experience profound periods of solitude that can feel overwhelming and confusing. You may find yourself feeling utterly misunderstood by friends who once seemed to share your worldview. Family members may express concern about changes they observe in you, not understanding that you are undergoing necessary spiritual evolution. You may feel disconnected from social groups, work environments, and even spiritual communities that previously provided a sense of belonging. Yet this isolation is not punishment or abandonment. It is a precisely orchestrated divine process designed for your spiritual benefit. The Creator is removing distractions, superficial relationships, and energy-draining situations so you can discern His voice with crystal clarity. Like a radio being tuned to receive a specific frequency, you are being extracted from the noise and static of worldly concerns so you can finally perceive ultimate truth without interference. This transformation typically catalyzes through significant life events that serve as spiritual triggers. These might include profound betrayals that shatter your trust in human nature, unexpected losses that force you to question the meaning of existence, sudden career changes that redirect your life path, health crises that make you confront your mortality, or relationships ending that seemed destined to last forever. While these experiences may initially feel devastating, they serve as divine instruments of awakening. Each crisis, each challenge, each moment of uncertainty is carefully designed to break down the false structures of identity you have built around external circumstances, forcing you to discover the eternal truth of who you are beneath all the temporary roles and identities you have assumed. The pain associated with spiritual awakening is real and should not be minimized, but it serves a crucial purpose. Just as physical pain alerts us to injury and prompts healing responses, spiritual pain indicates that transformation is occurring. The discomfort you experience is evidence that old patterns of thinking and being are dying to make room for new levels of consciousness and spiritual understanding. Once this awakening process begins, return to previous states of unconsciousness becomes impossible. You cannot unsee what you have seen or unknow what you have learned. Like someone who has discovered that the earth is round after believing it was flat, you cannot return to your former limited perspective no matter how comfortable or familiar it might have been. As your spiritual vision clears, you begin penetrating deceptions and illusions that were previously invisible to you. You start recognizing the spiritual warfare occurring on both global and personal levels, perceiving the battle between light and darkness that rages in every human heart and influences every human institution. You begin understanding realities that remain completely hidden from those who have not undergone similar awakening. This expanded perception explains why many awakened souls struggle to relate to those around them who have not experienced similar transformation. You are observing through spiritual vision, while others remain limited to physical perception. You are operating from expanded consciousness, while they are still functioning within the constraints of conventional thinking. Your consciousness begins expanding beyond all previous limitations, opening to receive divine communications that were always available but previously undetectable. You start receiving what many call divine downloads, sudden insights, inspired understandings, and profound realizations that seem to come from beyond your normal thinking processes. These might manifest as intuitive knowing about future events, deep understanding of complex spiritual principles, or clear guidance about decisions you need to make. Prophetic dreams become more frequent and vivid, often containing symbolic messages about your personal journey or broader spiritual realities. Visions may appear during meditation, prayer, or quiet moments, providing glimpses into spiritual dimensions that exist parallel to physical reality. You may begin experiencing synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to confirm you are on the right path or provide exactly the guidance you need at precisely the right moment. Your energetic sensitivity heightens dramatically, enabling you to discern the spiritual atmosphere of places and the true nature of people you encounter. You develop an almost supernatural ability to distinguish between those who carry genuine light and those who harbor darkness in their hearts. This discernment protects you from deception and guides you toward relationships and opportunities that serve your highest good. The second sacred sign, one of the most painful yet undeniable confirmations of your chosen status, is the consistent pattern of rejection you have experienced throughout your existence. This rejection has manifested in countless ways throughout your life. People turning against you without apparent reason, friendships dissolving inexplicably despite your best efforts to maintain them, family members failing to understand your deepest nature, and society persistently making you feel like an outsider looking in on a world where you never quite fit. This pattern of rejection occurs not because you are lacking in some fundamental way, but because you originate from a higher spiritual realm and carry divine essence that is foreign to worldly systems. You do not belong to this world's value system, thought patterns, or spiritual frequency. You belong to the divine, and consequently, those who are fully enmeshed in worldly consciousness instinctively sense your difference and often react with discomfort or hostility. From your earliest years, you may have felt fundamentally different from your peers, sensing that you were somehow operating on a different wavelength than those around you. Despite sincere attempts at conformity and fitting in, something deep within your spirit refused to blend with the masses or accept the limitations that others seemed comfortable embracing. Perhaps you were consistently excluded from social circles despite having much to offer, overlooked for opportunities even when you were clearly qualified, or treated unjustly in situations where others received fair consideration. You may have found yourself becoming the nonconformist in your family, the one who thought differently, asked uncomfortable questions, and perceived the world through a unique lens that others found disturbing or challenging. This occurs because chosen souls possess distinctly different spiritual essence that cannot be hidden or suppressed. You were never intended for conformity because your divine purpose involves leadership, innovation, and pioneering new ways of thinking and being. Your very presence challenges the status quo and forces people to confront aspects of themselves and their beliefs that they would prefer to leave unexamined. When others encounter you, they perceive your energy even without conscious understanding of what they are sensing. Some are naturally attracted to the light you carry, feeling inspired and uplifted in your presence. However, many others feel intimidated, threatened, or disturbed by your energy because it exposes the darkness they harbor within themselves or highlights the spiritual emptiness in their lives. The rejection you experience often intensifies when you begin stepping more fully into your spiritual identity and divine calling. As you grow in wisdom, consciousness, and spiritual power, the contrast between your energy and that of worldly-minded people becomes more pronounced, leading to increased misunderstanding and opposition. It's important to understand that their rejection does not reflect your worth, value, or adequacy. It confirms your calling and validates your chosen status. Throughout history, every prophet, spiritual teacher, and divinely appointed leader faced identical treatment. They were misunderstood, criticized, persecuted, and often killed because truth rarely receives a warm welcome from systems built on deception and spiritual darkness. The rejection serves multiple divine purposes in your spiritual development. First, it teaches you to find your validation and approval from the divine rather than from human sources, building spiritual independence and unshakable confidence in your identity and purpose. Second, it protects you from forming attachments to people and situations that would ultimately hinder your spiritual growth or compromise your divine mission. Third, rejection serves as a refining fire that burns away any people-pleasing tendencies, false humility, or need for external validation that might interfere with your ability to speak truth boldly and stand firm in your convictions when faced with opposition. Fourth, it develops compassion for others who are misunderstood or rejected, preparing you to minister effectively to those who will later seek your guidance and support. Every person who rejected you was divinely allowed to leave your life because they were never meant to be part of your ultimate destiny. Every door that closed was meant to close, redirecting you toward opportunities and relationships that would better serve your divine purpose. What seemed like failure or loss was actually divine protection and guidance steering you toward your authentic path. The third sacred sign. Something profound and persistent within you has never found rest. An inner knowing that refuses to be silenced. An unshakable conviction that your existence serves extraordinary purposes that extend far beyond personal happiness or material success. This sense of divine purpose burns within you like an eternal flame, sometimes flickering during difficult seasons, but never completely extinguished. While the majority of humanity navigates life without deep questioning, spiritual seeking, or wonder about their reason for existence, You have always understood at the deepest level that your life carries significance that transcends ordinary human experience. This understanding may not always have been clearly articulated, and you may have struggled to explain it to others, but it has been a constant presence in your consciousness since childhood. This represents one of the clearest and most reliable indicators of your chosen nature. You possess what can only be described as divine assignment, a sacred mission that was implanted in your spirit before your physical birth. You were not placed on this earth merely to exist, consume, reproduce, and die like biological organisms driven purely by survival instincts. Nor were you intended to follow society's predetermined paths of conventional success without questioning their ultimate meaning or value. Your soul carries a mission from the Creator Himself, imprinted so deeply within your spiritual DNA that ignoring or abandoning it becomes literally impossible. This divine programming is more fundamental to your nature than any learned behavior, cultural conditioning, or societal expectation. It represents the core reason for your existence and the primary lens through which you unconsciously evaluate every opportunity, relationship, and life decision. Throughout your life, you may have attempted to follow seemingly safer, more logical paths that others were successfully pursuing. Perhaps you chose careers based on financial security rather than passion, entered relationships that looked good on paper, but felt spiritually empty, or made decisions designed to win approval from family and society rather than align with your inner knowing. Yet invariably, you found yourself feeling restless, unfulfilled, and searching for deeper meaning despite achieving external measures of success. This persistent dissatisfaction occurs because your spirit refuses to settle for anything less than its created purpose. Like a bird trying to live underwater or a fish attempting to fly, you cannot thrive when operating outside your divine design, no matter how much effort you apply or how much others insist you should be content. This divine restlessness often manifests as a feeling that time is running out, that you are supposed to be doing something important but cannot clearly identify what it is. You may experience seasons of intense seeking, reading spiritual books, attending workshops, consulting mentors, or exploring different paths in an attempt to discover your specific calling. While this seeking is valuable and necessary, the ultimate answer lies not in external sources, but in deeper connection with the divine source who embedded the mission within you. Your sense of purpose typically involves serving others in ways that facilitate healing, growth, awakening, or transformation. You may feel called to teach, heal, lead, create, inspire, or guide others toward truth and higher consciousness. The specific expression of your purpose is unique to your individual gifting and circumstances, but it always involves using your experiences, insights, and spiritual gifts to benefit humanity in some significant way. This calling often seems disproportionate to your current circumstances, qualifications, or resources. You may feel called to impact thousands of lives while currently struggling to manage your own affairs. You may sense that you are meant to teach profound truth while still learning basic spiritual principles yourself. This apparent contradiction is actually confirmation that your calling originates from divine source rather than human ambition or ego-driven fantasy. The magnitude of your purpose may sometimes feel overwhelming, leading to periods of doubt, fear, or attempts to escape into smaller, more manageable versions of normal life. Yet the calling always returns, often stronger after periods of resistance, because it represents your authentic spiritual identity rather than an optional add-on to your existence. The fourth sacred sign. You possess something that fundamentally distinguishes you from the majority of humanity. You do not merely observe the world with physical eyes, but perceive reality through spiritual vision that penetrates beyond surface appearances. You do not simply hear sounds with your ears, but listen with your soul to frequencies and messages that others cannot detect. You do not understand situations purely through logical analysis, but feel truth resonating within your being at levels that transcend intellectual comprehension. This extraordinary ability, known as spiritual discernment, represents one of the strongest and most reliable confirmations of your chosen status. It enables you to see beyond the physical realm into the spiritual dimensions that underlie and influence all earthly experiences. This heightened awareness functions like a spiritual radar system, detecting energies, intentions, and realities that remain completely invisible to those operating purely from worldly consciousness. While others accept surface appearances and take things at face value, you instinctively sense the underlying currents and hidden dynamics operating beneath visible circumstances. You perceive people's true intentions even when they are skilled at presenting false personas. You detect the genuine spiritual atmosphere of places, recognizing whether they carry peace, conflict, holiness, or darkness regardless of their outward appearance. Your spiritual perception enables you to recognize when situations are misaligned with divine order, even when there is no logical evidence to support your concerns. You may feel uncomfortable in certain environments without being able to articulate why, or sense that particular individuals are not trustworthy despite their charming exteriors. This inner knowing has likely proven accurate countless times, even when others dismissed your concerns as unfounded suspicion or paranoia. This gift transcends ordinary intuition or psychological insight. It represents a divine endowment that connects you directly to spiritual intelligence that governs all creation. Like a radio receiver tuned to frequencies beyond normal human perception, you can pick up spiritual transmissions, divine guidance, and heavenly communications that provide crucial information for navigating complex situations and making important decisions. Your heightened perception often manifests through various spiritual senses that operate parallel to your physical senses. You may experience spiritual sight through visions, dreams, or sudden visual impressions that provide insight into hidden realities. Spiritual hearing might manifest as an inner voice, inspired thoughts, or the ability to perceive the spiritual significance behind spoken words. The spiritual feeling could involve sensing the emotional and spiritual atmosphere around people and places, detecting their level of peace, joy, fear, or spiritual oppression. This gift of discernment serves multiple crucial functions in your spiritual development and divine service. First, it protects you from deception by alerting you to false teachings, manipulative individuals, and spiritually dangerous situations before you become deeply involved. Second, it guides you toward opportunities, relationships, and situations that serve your highest good and advance your divine purpose. Third, spiritual discernment enables you to minister effectively to others by perceiving their true spiritual condition, understanding the root causes of their struggles, and recognizing what they truly need for healing and growth. Fourth, it positions you to serve as a spiritual watchman, alerting others to spiritual dangers and guiding them toward truth when they are ready to receive it. However, this gift also comes with significant challenges and responsibilities. The ability to see through facades and detect hidden realities can be emotionally burdensome, especially when you perceive darkness or deception in people you care about. You may struggle with whether to confront what you see or remain silent, knowing that others may not be ready to receive your insights. Your heightened sensitivity to spiritual atmospheres means that you are more affected by negative environments, toxic relationships, and spiritually oppressive situations than others who cannot perceive these realities. This sensitivity requires you to be extremely careful about where you go, who you associate with, and what spiritual influences you allow into your life. The development of spiritual discernment is an ongoing process that deepens as your relationship with the divine matures. The more time you spend in prayer, meditation, and study of spiritual truth, the more refined and accurate your perception becomes. Like any spiritual gift, discernment must be cultivated through use, tested through experience, and balanced with wisdom, love, and proper timing in its application. The fifth sacred sign, one of the most bewildering yet telling confirmations of your chosen nature, is the extreme contrasts that characterize your existence. A paradoxical life experience that simultaneously includes both incredible divine blessings and intense spiritual battles. Your life seems to operate in extremes rather than the steady, predictable patterns that characterize most people's experiences. It often appears that forward progress in your life invariably meets with resistance, as if invisible forces are determined to prevent your advancement. Breakthrough moments are frequently followed by periods of intense testing. Divine opportunities arrive accompanied by unexpected opposition, and seasons of blessing seem to alternate with seasons of warfare in ways that defy logical explanation. This remarkable pattern is not coincidental, nor is it evidence of divine disfavor or spiritual failure on your part. Rather, it represents the inevitable result of spiritual warfare that intensifies around those who carry significant divine calling and anointing. Your life exists at the intersection of two spiritual kingdoms, the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness, and both realms recognize the spiritual authority and potential impact you possess. The adversarial forces of darkness do not waste energy attacking those who pose no threat to their agenda of deception, destruction, and spiritual bondage. They focus their opposition on individuals whose awakening, growth, and divine service have the potential to liberate others from spiritual darkness and advance the kingdom of divine truth and righteousness. As a chosen one, you carry powerful spiritual anointing that enables you to influence others toward truth, healing, and higher consciousness. This anointing threatens the kingdom of darkness because every person you help awaken represents a loss to their ranks and a gain for the kingdom of light. Consequently, the more you step into your divine calling and begin operating in your spiritual gifts, the more intense the opposition becomes. This warfare manifests in countless ways throughout your life experiences. You may notice that just when things start going well in your career, sudden conflicts arise in your workplace that seem designed to undermine your success or force you to compromise your values. Perhaps you launch a new business venture with great enthusiasm, only to encounter unexpected obstacles, financial challenges, or partnership difficulties that test your resolve and drain your resources. In relationships, you might find that as you grow spiritually and begin attracting people who share your values and support your divine calling, opposition arises from family members or old friends who feel threatened by your transformation. They may criticize your spiritual journey, attempt to pull you back into old patterns, or create drama that diverts your energy from pursuing your divine purpose. Health challenges sometimes intensify during seasons when you are poised to make significant spiritual breakthroughs or launch important aspects of your ministry or calling. Financial difficulties may arise precisely when you need resources to move forward with divinely inspired projects. Technical problems, legal issues, or other practical obstacles may appear at crucial moments, seemingly designed to discourage you from persevering. Yet simultaneously, you are also highly favored by divine providence in ways that often seem miraculous to outside observers. No matter how intense the attacks become or how overwhelming the challenges appear, you consistently find ways to rise above circumstances that would crush others. When people attempt to destroy your reputation or block your progress, divine intervention lifts you up and vindicates your character. Even when situations seem utterly impossible and all natural solutions have been exhausted, doors open for you at precisely the right moments through means that you never could have orchestrated through human effort alone. Resources appear when you need them most, often through unexpected channels. People emerge to help you just when you are about to give up, offering exactly the assistance, encouragement, or opportunity you need to continue. This divine favor often manifests in ways that seem to defy logical explanation. You may receive job offers that you never applied for, opportunities that you weren't seeking, or breakthrough solutions to problems that seemed unsolvable. Divine timing consistently works in your favor, even when circumstances suggest that your window of opportunity has closed. Your ability to overcome obstacles and recover from setbacks amazes others who observe your life from the outside. They may comment on your resilience, your faith, or your ability to always land on your feet, not understanding that what they are witnessing is divine favor in action rather than merely personal strength or positive thinking. This pattern of favor and warfare serves several important purposes in your spiritual development. First, it builds unshakable faith by proving repeatedly that divine power is greater than any opposition you will face. Second, it develops spiritual warfare skills that you will need to help others who are facing similar battles. Third, it prevents you from becoming complacent or taking your divine calling for granted by keeping you dependent on divine grace rather than human ability. Fourth, it demonstrates to others the reality of spiritual warfare and divine intervention, providing powerful testimony that can awaken those who are ready to see beyond natural circumstances to spiritual realities. Your life becomes a living demonstration that divine power is real and available to all who align themselves with divine purposes. The sixth sacred sign. Something within your spiritual essence perpetually yearns for connection with the divine source of all existence, creating an unquenchable thirst for divine communion that transcends religious ritual or conventional spiritual practice. This yearning represents one of the most profound and intimate aspects of your chosen nature, an internal compass that consistently points toward divine truth regardless of external circumstances or influences. Unlike casual spiritual seekers who turn to divine matters only during crises or those who approach spirituality as one interest among many, your connection to the divine represents the central organizing principle of your entire existence. This relationship is not an addition to your life. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built, the lens through which you interpret all experiences, and the source from which you draw meaning, purpose, and strength. Throughout your life journey, regardless of how far external circumstances may have taken you from spiritual pursuits, that fundamental connection has never truly severed. Even during periods of doubt, rebellion, or spiritual dryness, something within you maintained awareness of divine presence and continued to seek divine truth. During your lowest moments, when feeling abandoned by humanity, questioned by circumstances, or overwhelmed by life's challenges, you could still sense divine companionship and guidance. This persistent connection occurs because you are genuinely chosen by divine love and grace. Your soul originated in divine consciousness and retains that spiritual DNA despite being clothed in human flesh and navigating earthly challenges. A truly chosen soul does not require external convincing of divine reality, because you have experienced divine presence in ways that transcend intellectual argument or theological proof. You have witnessed unmistakable signs of divine intervention in your personal circumstances, doors opening when they should have remained closed, protection appearing when you were most vulnerable, guidance arriving precisely when you needed direction most desperately. You have experienced synchronicities that were too meaningful to be mere coincidence, received answers to prayers in ways that could not be explained by natural causes, and felt divine love surround you during moments when human love failed. Your relationship with the divine has always possessed distinctive characteristics that set it apart from conventional religious experience. While others pray from habit, obligation, or desperation, you pray from deep spiritual hunger and genuine desire for communion. Your prayers are conversations rather than recitations, intimate communications rather than formal requests, expressions of love and gratitude rather than mere petitioning for personal benefit. While others may seek divine assistance only during emergencies or major life crises, you maintain constant awareness of divine presence, and seek divine guidance for both significant decisions and daily activities. Your spiritual practice extends beyond scheduled prayer times or religious services to encompass continuous dialogue with divine consciousness throughout your ordinary activities and experiences. While others may struggle with doubt about divine existence or question divine goodness during difficult circumstances, you possess unshakable knowing that divine love and wisdom are constant, even when divine purposes are temporarily hidden from your understanding. This knowing does not eliminate questions or struggles, but provides an underlying foundation of trust that sustains you through seasons of uncertainty. Your spiritual hunger drives you to constantly pursue deeper understanding of divine truth, higher levels of consciousness, and more intimate communion with divine love. You read spiritual literature not just for information, but for transformation, seeking wisdom that will change your character and bring you into closer alignment with divine nature. You are drawn to spiritual practices that facilitate genuine encounter with divine presence rather than merely performing religious duties or following traditional customs. Whether through contemplative prayer, meditation, worship, nature connection, or service to others, you seek authentic spiritual experience that feeds your soul and advances your spiritual growth. This deep divine connection serves as both your greatest blessing and your most significant responsibility. It provides you with access to divine wisdom, comfort, guidance, and power that enable you to navigate life's challenges and fulfill your divine calling. Yet it also creates separation from those who do not share similar spiritual depth and places upon you the responsibility to use your spiritual gifts and insights for divine purposes rather than personal advancement. Your connection to the divine becomes deeper and more intimate as you mature spiritually, but it also becomes more demanding in terms of surrender, obedience, and willingness to be used for purposes that may require personal sacrifice. The closer you draw to divine love, the more your own character is refined and purified to reflect divine nature. This divine connection ultimately represents the source of your identity, purpose, authority, and power as a chosen vessel. It is through this relationship that you receive your assignments, your spiritual gifts, your wisdom, and your strength to fulfill the divine calling upon your life. The seventh sacred sign. You possess an unmistakable spiritual presence that commands attention and creates impact wherever you go, regardless of your conscious efforts to blend in or remain inconspicuous. Even when you attempt to maintain a low profile, you naturally stand out in ways that you cannot control or suppress. Even during periods of silence or withdrawal, your presence communicates volumes about the spiritual reality you carry within. This influence emanates from the divine anointing that rests upon your life, a spiritual energy and authority that others can perceive even when they lack the spiritual vocabulary to describe what they are sensing. Your very presence carries transformative power that affects the spiritual atmosphere of environments you enter and influences the consciousness of people with whom you interact. The impact you have on others manifests in distinctly different ways, depending on their spiritual condition and openness to divine truth. Some individuals are naturally drawn to you like iron filings to a magnet, feeling inspired, uplifted, and motivated simply by being in your presence. These people often seek your wisdom, advice, and perspective on life's challenges, sensing that you possess insights and understanding that could help them navigate their own spiritual journey. Even complete strangers may feel comfortable approaching you with their deepest concerns, sharing intimate details of their struggles as if they have known you for years. This occurs because your spirit carries divine love and compassion that creates a safe space for others to be vulnerable and authentic. Your presence assures them that they will not be judged, condemned, or rejected regardless of what they reveal about their circumstances or past mistakes. These individuals often report feeling peaceful, hopeful, or encouraged after spending time with you, even if the conversation was brief or seemingly casual. They may comment that you helped them gain new perspective on their situation or gave them strength to continue persevering through difficult circumstances. Some may credit you with saying exactly what they needed to hear at precisely the right moment, even though you may not have been aware of providing any special guidance. Conversely, others are deeply disturbed by your presence in ways they cannot rationally explain or articulate. These individuals may become defensive, hostile, or agitated around you despite your best efforts to be kind, respectful, and non-threatening. They may criticize you for no apparent reason, challenge your statements even when you are discussing neutral topics, or simply express strong dislike for you without being able to identify specific actions or behaviors that justify their reaction. This negative response occurs because your spiritual light exposes the darkness they carry within their hearts, creating internal conflict and discomfort that they project onto you rather than examining themselves. Your presence forces them to confront aspects of their character, choices, or spiritual condition that they prefer to keep hidden or ignore. Like someone with diseased eyes who finds bright light painful, those who harbor spiritual darkness find your presence disturbing because it illuminates what they want to keep in shadow. Your spiritual influence extends beyond individual interactions to affect the overall atmosphere of environments you enter. Rooms may seem brighter, conversations may become deeper and more meaningful, and conflicts may resolve more quickly when you are present. Alternatively, hidden tensions may surface, deceptions may be exposed, and spiritual battles may intensify as your presence forces spiritual issues to the forefront that were previously suppressed or ignored. You do not consciously control this influence. It flows naturally from the divine anointing upon your life and the spiritual authority you carry as a chosen vessel. This power operates independently of your personality, communication skills, or conscious efforts to impact others. Even during seasons when you feel spiritually weak, discouraged, or uncertain about your calling, others continue to be affected by your presence because the influence comes from divine source rather than human strength. This spiritual influence carries tremendous responsibility because it means that your life constantly affects others in ways you may never fully realize. People observe how you handle challenges, respond to difficulties, treat others, and navigate moral decisions. Your example either encourages them toward higher standards or gives them permission to compromise their own values. Your words carry unusual weight and authority because people sense that you speak from genuine spiritual experience rather than mere opinion or theoretical knowledge. Casual comments you make may profoundly impact someone's life direction, while advice you give may be remembered and applied years after you have forgotten the conversation. This influence also means that you must be extremely careful about your associations, activities, and the spiritual atmosphere you allow in your personal life. Because you affect others so powerfully, anything that contaminates your own spiritual life, whether through entertainment choices, relationships, or personal habits, can potentially impact those who look to you for guidance and inspiration. The ultimate purpose of your spiritual influence is to serve as a conduit through which divine love, truth, and power can flow into the lives of others and into the world at large. You are called to be a living demonstration of divine character, a walking testimony to the reality of spiritual transformation, and a bridge between divine consciousness and human need. Now that you have heard these 7 signs, you may be recognizing something profound within yourself. You are not ordinary. You never have been. Everything you have experienced, the rejection, the awakening, the spiritual battles, the unshakable divine connection, and the powerful energy you carry, has been evidence of your divine calling. You are chosen. You were never meant to conform to worldly systems because you were called to transcend them. Your path has been different because your purpose is greater. The struggles you have endured have not been meaningless. They have shaped, strengthened, and prepared you for what approaches. The divine has been guiding you continuously. Even in moments of feeling lost, he was directing you. Even when questioning your purpose, he was confirming it. Now the truth stands clear. You were chosen for specific reasons. You were set apart to be illumination in a world shrouded in darkness, to bring truth where deception reigns, and to lead where others remain lost. But understanding your chosen nature is insufficient. You must now walk in that calling. You must embrace your identity completely and cease doubting the power the divine has placed within you. You must step boldly into your purpose without fear or hesitation. If this message has resonated with you, if you feel deep within your soul that you are among the spiritually chosen, comment 777 below right now. This is not merely a number, it is confirmation. A declaration that you recognize your calling and are prepared to step into the path the divine has prepared for you. Remember this fundamental truth. You were chosen for specific purpose. You are not alone, not forgotten, not lost. You are ascending, and regardless of what opposes you, the divine has already ordained your victory. Remain steadfast, remain awakened, remain chosen. Walk boldly in your divine calling, for your time of full manifestation approaches.